Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Captain Calhoun. I thought for sure I was live. I just got StreamYard up and running, and so I'm still learning all the ins and outs. I actually did a little intro specifically for all of the ripples. I appreciate everybody's patience. We finally figured this out today so that I have the ability to put people's comments up, and Spanx can just come in and not have to be here necessarily. So we want to make this as easy as we can for him. So this is a benefit to the boat and all the ripples that are coming in to support. So welcome. Let me do a little roll call. Crafty Witch, Andrew Wise, My Other's Keeper. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in and being part of the discussion. This is very much of a discussion of this is fibromyalgia. Hi, Christmas. This is a part of a discussion that needs to be had. I encourage you, if you're not dealing with fibromyalgia, please come in and be a part of the discussion, learn about it. You may not have somebody that, and Antonio, you may not have somebody, and Nikolai, in your life that is dealing with fibromyalgia, but we know from the boat experience, there are people in the chat, I have seen it, that are dealing with it. Hi, Scooby. They're dealing with it. And it's helpful if you understand what it is. If you are dealing with something that people can see, a broken arm or a broken leg, it makes it a lot easier to understand what's going on. Hi, Mom. Kathy's my mom. So if you see that, you can see that on the outside. If you're dealing with fibromyalgia or something that's chronic, you can't necessarily see it from the inside. So I'm so glad that I can be here. I consider myself a survivor of fibromyalgia and a warrior. And I love Mystdragon, who said, you know what? I have fibromyalgia, but fibromyalgia doesn't have me. So I want to make sure that we can see it, we can understand it. Not every person that has fibromyalgia is going to be able to, and hooray, absolutely hooray for invisible disabilities. We've got to understand it. Hi, Rhonda. We've got to understand it so that we can know how to help people that are dealing with it. So I'm so glad. Hi, Nacho's mom. I'm so glad that we can do it, and that you can see that there's ways to live with it, and that it's most important. I think it was so fitting yesterday that Captain Calhoun was talking about boundaries, because with somebody that has fibromyalgia, you need to have boundaries. You need to have things that you say, you know what, I have to be able to set, if I need a rest or a nap. I think it's funny, as kids, we always complained about naps, and now it's like, I've got to get my nap in. But it's very true. You need to set your boundaries for what your body can do and what it cannot do. And you don't need to feel guilty when it can't. I use this example a little bit. Like Nicola says, I have many close friends, massage clients with fibromyalgia, and I have other chronic invisible conditions myself. So she's here. She knows what it's like. She gets some experience with it. So I use this example when I was on My Other's Keeper, talking about talking about what fibromyalgia looks like, and I hope it'll be here, is for most people that are dealing with pain, and then I'll kind of get into my story. When you're dealing with a fibromyalgia, you are in pain all the time. I know that's the way my body is. It is in Crafty Witch is also a fibro warrior. My body is in pain all the time. There's not a day that goes by that I wake up and I go, oh, I decided not to hurt today. It's always going to hurt. It just depends on my severity level. So if you have a headache, most people can take a Tylenol, have a headache, and it goes away. A person with fibromyalgia, their light is always on. So I want people to kind of think of it like this. When you don't have fibromyalgia, you have a headache. So you take a pill, you take a Tylenol, and eventually the light goes out. For me, this light never dies. My switch, hi Hooks, My switch to be able to turn my pain level off never goes off. I can dial it down. I can make it the light go down, or I can have tools in my toolbox that I can take this light and I can put in when it's on and close it and make it dim so I'm not seeing it. But it's always in the back of my head. It's always on. And I can close up my little toolbox, but my pain is always in there. My switch to have my pain go off is broken. That's the way I look at it. And so when you open it to somebody that's a fibromyalgia patient, their light's still on. And they just, depending on their day, it's either they can put it in their toolbox and do something else like journaling, crocheting, finding something to get rid of it. But usually it's always on. Their switch is broken when you're dealing with a chronic pain or a fibromyalgia. That's the best way I look at it. People that have exercised and they're sore or they're tired, the next day, or they've walked in an amusement park. That's kind of what a fibromyalgia patient feels like day in and day out. It's pretty overwhelming to go to bed and think, I'm going to hurt when I wake up tomorrow. That's why it takes me 2 hours to kind of warm up my body a little bit in the morning. I try not to rush out of bed all the time. And like Crafty Witch said, right? Always level of pain every day. And Scooby Lee says, I'm constant pain because of my psoriasis. It's just normally only in my back. I have back issues too. So believe me, I get it. I'm new here, chronic pain patient. I understand the pain line always on, hurting, gonna lurk. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can we please throw some ones up for 9 a.m., please? Anybody that's dealing with chronic pain, I totally understand it. If I miss your comments, this is the first time I've had the ability to do this, and so I just appreciate everybody's patience. Hi, Terry. So if you're dealing with fibromyalgia, the symptoms of fibromyalgia, just for the people that aren't dealing with it, are this. I put them down. Widespread pain. We all know that. The pain from fibromyalgia often is described as constant dual aching that has lasted for more than 3 months. It's considered widespread pain, most occurring on both sides of the body and above or below your waist. Fatigue. That's another huge one. People with fibromyalgia often wake up tired. Me, for long periods of time after sleeping. Sleeping is often disrupted by pain. Many patients with fibromyalgia also have sleeping disorders, such as restless leg syndrome and sleep apnea. And cognitive difficulties, the symptoms common referred to as fibro fog. That is something that happens, impairs the ability to focus, pay attention, or be able to concentrate on tasks. Fibromyalgia, we're just going to skip the rest of it. It's too long. Why did I have to get such one with such a long name? They don't often exist with it, but there is irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, migraines, and other types of headaches. That's how I started. Internal cyst or painful bladder syndrome, joint disorders, anxiety, depression. Those are just some of the ones that will, come about with fibromyalgia. So it is just not. Hi, Kristen. It is just not, okay, they're hurting. Hi, Bella. Thank you for hopping in. They're just not that, okay, they're hurting. That's all. Do you see the list of other things that this is coming along with? For me, my fibromyalgia joint journey, I'm a little tongue-tied tonight, started with headaches. I had back problems probably since the time I had my daughter. So I just kind of thought, okay, these are just normal. I'm under a lot of stress. These are just migraines. I was having them happen all the time. pretty consistently several times a week. And there were times that I just needed to go to bed, no lights, everybody be quiet. I don't want to talk to anybody. Um, and I'm glad CJ Harris, beyond excited to hear this. I'm thirsty. I'm 30-year fibromyalgia vet. Well, prayers, believe me. So understand that I didn't connect the dots right away. I just thought, this is just headaches. Well, then they started throwing things at me for headache relief. Well, I don't remember what medication it was, but it was a medication supposed to take care of my migraines. And they said, take this every day. Well, I just sat there going, there's no way that this medication, I really wish I could remember the name of the medication. There's no way this medication can make my migraines worse. And I called my pharmacist. If you are having some kind of reaction to a medication, call your pharmacist. And they often know all the side effects. Ask them to look for the side effect. The side effect was it was making my migraines worse. I was part of the 1% of people that took this medication that made my headaches worse. It didn't help. So that had to stop. It wasn't until 2012, 2013, when I realized that I think I'm having fibromyalgia pain. I just started looking it up. My husband Googled it and he said, I think this could be something you very much could have. Very much could have. And I thought, yep, have the headaches, have the widespread pain. Yep. And I talked to my doctor, I had a doctor who I loved. He was an angel, an absolute angel. He treated me like a patient. He was wonderful. And I decided that, he said, I think I need to send you to a pain management doctor. Well, unfortunately, I had to leave my job in 2013. 2013 was a year that my daughter was diagnosed with another disability. My dad was diagnosed with the onset or head shoulder surgery. My dad was diagnosed with dementia. We decided to move my parents next door to us. There was a house that was available. It was like a fourplex. And my uncle passed away. So I had to leave my job. There was just too much stuff going on and I needed to be home. And so I lost my insurance. And so I couldn't go to a pain management doctor. I couldn't go to a rheumatologist without having to pay for those things out of pocket. And so my doctor could not necessarily be able to say, okay, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and test you for it. So I decided I needed to go down the rabbit hole of, disability and all that kind of stuff. And I had to go through those things. And I just remember going to a rheumatologist, and the rheumatologist said to me, he started pressing, because there's times where you can press on a fibromyalgia patient. And it's like, it hurts beyond belief. It is so sore. And so he just started pressing on me and started asking symptoms real quick. And he said, yep, you have fibromyalgia. And that was pretty much it. And I knew for about a year that I had it. And I remember going home. And this is a really, really important step. If you were diagnosed with any disability, please take the time to grieve over it. I just remember thinking, well, I know I had it. My doctor had a feeling I had it. Why is this so hard for me to deal with? Why do I need to go through the steps of grieving over this? I know I had it, but I knew that once I heard that, the doctor was now doing this was now labeled to me. This was not going to change. I wasn't going to change this. And I was going to have to really much change my life and how I did it. And that I was going to spend the rest of my life waking up hurting and going to bed hurting. My light was going to be broken. And it was I needed to go through the grief process. I needed to go through being angry about it and crying about it and grieving about it and all of those things. So I really encourage you to take that time to grieve over that. You're experiencing a loss of who you were. of what you were able to do. And now you're into who you're going to be. And that is a journey. That's a battle to be able to go in front of. So I really, really encourage you to be able to do that. Andrea says, I cashed my 20, the decade of the migraine. I was absolutely horrific. And the only doctor I found who could me even a little wanted to implant electrodes or something in my brain. Yep, he wanted, the doctor that gave me that medicine that made the migraine worse wanted me to go in and do something with my neck on a live x-ray. And my grandmother had it done, and it made her worse. So I didn't really look forward to doing it at all. Crafty Witch says, I was diagnosed with a finishing cancer treatment while they were ruling out many other issues. So, you know, prayers, gentle hugs. That's what we say. I see that a lot in the chat. Gentle hugs when people are having fibromyalgia days. So I encourage you, go through the grieving process of it. You will need to go through the grieving process of it. I remember getting up, I think the next day or two. And at one point I locked myself in my bathroom and I just was screaming and I was crying and I was just so mad at the world that this was just never going to go away. And that was really hard. My husband's like, I can't help you. I can just be here to love you. But I needed to go through the grieving process. And there's still days where I fight and I don't like it. And I don't like having to structure my life in a certain way. But that's how I started. I at that point, the only medication that works for me is pain medicine. And so I know that that's been talked about on the boat too as well. There's a difference between dependence and addiction. It is the only thing that really has worked for me throughout my journey. It is not something that normally is thrown at fibromyalgia patients. They tried me with Cymbalta. I was allergic, so the doctor's like, well, we ain't going to try you with Lyrica. They tried me with gabapentin. I think gabapentin for some people are a miracle drug. For me, it wanted me to unalive myself within one pill. My husband realized something was going down very quickly, and he said, you are not taking this medicine again. I was just in tears and crying, and it took some time for the medicine to wear out of my system, and once it did, I was coming back. But it will not be a medication I can handle. For some people, it is a miracle drug, and I love it. Some doctors don't even believe in it, and friend really struggles, live in a small village with no choice of doctors. I totally understand it. My doctor was one of those people that he was a godsend. Oh my goodness. I still hard to accept how much it changes you, but no choice. You have to accept it. It does change you. Pain will change you. There is no doubt about that. Yep, they still call it junk in science. Absolutely. Because it's not anything that they can do a blood test and say, yes. I just had the rheumatologist said, yep, you have it. You're done. You have it. And that was it. So I encourage you need to grieve over it. I encourage you then, once you have set up, I also encourage that you start journaling, writing down things that you are doing that will make your pain go up. You will learn, I'm now in this long enough that I know what my body likes and what it doesn't like. But oftentimes when you're first starting out and you're grieving over this, you often don't realize, hey, I've done this, and this, or this emotional stuff happened yesterday, and my pain is worse today. Well, what did I do yesterday? What went on yesterday? What was my pain level doing while I was doing that? And well, you can often coordinate it between, especially when it repeats itself. If you go for a mile walk every day or every other day, and you are seeing that the next day you're just absolutely, you're just not even able to do anything, then maybe you need to dial that back to half a mile. And if you do a half a mile, maybe you're not as sore, and your body can't do a mile. And maybe you need to do it every 2 days. And when you do it on the third day, you're not as sore as if you do it every other day. So those kind of things will help you find where you can keep your pain level here and not have it go up. If you can get your pain level to a pretty manageable level, then it will not increase. And when it increases, it takes a lot longer for it to come down. We moved, I cried when I left my doctor in Florida. I just loved him. I mean, I remember going he wasn't there at the office, and I needed a refill of my medication. And I had this doctor, and my husband's like, I'm really glad that, I wasn't anywhere. He said, I was just ready to go. He said, I was so upset with the way she treated you. She walked in, she was just, didn't even sit down, didn't even talk to me, didn't find out my story, and just said, I'm not filling that medication, and walked out of the room. And I was just like, you're not even going to sit and talk to me? You're not even get to know me? Hi, scraptistic crocheter. I hope I said that right. I love that name. So, that was just like, oh my goodness. I moved to Ohio, and I had a doctor. Once my primary got me into the pain management doctor, and that's what I kind of touched on the other day, who said to me, we're going to do 3 medications. We were in there for an hour. And he said, we're going to do 3 medications. One was a sleeping medication. One was another medication. I do not remember these medications. And another one was a depression medication. I want you to start taking all of these. And I said, nope, we're not taking all of them, because part of fibromyalgia is anxiety, and I have panic attacks. And so, no, I will have throw all these medications and make me take them all at once. I'm not going to know what I'm going to react to, and I'm going to have a panic attack, and I don't want that. So we're going to do it my way. That's when you need to be an advocate for yourself. You've got to know, this is not, I'll do it your way. I'll do it the way you want me to do it. But we're going to do it the way I feel the most comfortable with. And I was very much of an advocate for myself. So I tried the sleeping medication. I was nauseous, and I was no good to anybody. It was just like, nope, that's a no-go. So I just took 1 pill of those, and I went on and waited a week or 2. And I started with the next medication. I gave my body that break. I did the second medication. I was still nauseous. I had a headache. I was no good to anybody. So guess what? That medication went out the window. The depression medication, and this took like 2 months to make all these medications work through my system. But the depression medication, I felt like I was on a boat, no pun intended. And I was very irritable. I was just like, I'm just wanting. And so I was like, nope, won't work for me. And I went back to him and I said, okay, we've tried all these 3 medications. Do you now have a new plan? He didn't take me off my one that worked. And he said, we're going back and we're going back to what works for you. He said, go back to what works. And I was like, thank goodness gracious. I don't have to go back, go through this any more medication try. I was done at that point. I knew what worked for my body. If you are taking any kind of medication, there are people, unfortunately, that cannot. We know of the Admiral story, who, unfortunately, he can't handle them in the house. He can't take them. He knows where that leads him. And there's people that are addicted to it. But if you are using your medication appropriately, as a doctor prescribes, and you can have it. Now, I can have it in the drawer. I can have mint chocolate chip ice cream. That will call my name. The other will not. Try to download an app on your phone. I use Pill Alert. I think that's what I use. Pill Alert is what I use. And download some kind of pill minder on your phone that I don't care whatever time you're taking your medication, you can put that medication in that pill minder. I know when I took my pill the last time, I don't trust here. So if I go to bed and I don't take my medication and I maybe taken it at 6 o'clock at night and I'm going to go to sleep and I'll wake up in the middle of the night, maybe I get to sleep through the night and I realize, oh, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and my pain is increasing. I'll look back at my phone and go, oh, I haven't had my pill for this long a period of time. I now know why. So write it on, hi, Mystdragon, write it on a piece of paper, but it's better if it can be on your phone because your phone goes everywhere with you. I was in the hospital and they gave me my medication and it went right into my phone. It has become a habit and a good habit to do. And then I'm not trusting here to say, oh, yes, when did I have it last? Stress is another huge one. And that was a really good comment, if I can find it. I think it was Crafty Witch. Stress is a big, big trigger. And that's why you need to sit with your family. And I probably got down a rabbit hole. Went on a tangent. You need to sit with your family and have a discussion on what your life is going to look like. It is going to look different. And you need to say, this is what I feel. If you are laying down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and that is your daily time where you sit for an hour and lay down and have a nap, then you need to lay down and have a nap. And that's where boundaries come into very, very important. This is my boundaries. This is what I need. This is what I need to be able to help you. I say to, people, I say to Captain Calhoun as well, you cannot fill your cup if you do not, take care of yourself. And that is so true. So if you need to lay down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and then you need to sit with your family and say, this is what I need. If you need help with laundry, if you need help with picking somebody else, taking meals throughout the week and helping you with that, you need to ask for help. And then what happens is if you're living with somebody or you are, children or you have children or what have you, they become a blessing to you as well, is if you will allow them to come beside you and help you. One thing I can't handle is strong smells. It makes me so sick. It messes my day up. Is this typical symptom? I wanted to talk to fibro folks for a long time to learn more about it myself. No, I don't have that. I don't have that. And maybe someone in the chat does. I can't handle perfumes. That will give me an instant migraine. It does not make me sick, but there are smells that will give me a headache very quickly, with no trouble at all. So if that helps, I mean, there's times that it does. I remember that there was a comment placed when I was talking about going on the highways. And somebody said, oh, thank you, I'm not alone. And I'm like, great. I don't feel like I'm alone either. And Nicole E is exactly right. You can't pour from an empty vessel. And I don't do the highway well at all. I just don't do it. And so my husband and I take the back roads a lot. Thankfully, he enjoys the back roads. But for me, it will put me into a panic attack, which what then panic attack does. Panic attack will put stress onto your body. And then that way it will cause you more pain the next day. So I avoid stress like the plague. And my family knows that. When I've been through a stressful situation, I am so tired. Rhonda says she has that. Strong smells are awful. I have to get away from them. So see, every fibromyalgia patient's different. Sometimes it will give me a headache. I choose to take the back roads. It may sound crazy to people. Can't we just go the highway? It's a lot faster. Well, you know what? If you love somebody enough, you're going to do for them because you love them. Let me encourage you to do that. If you love somebody enough, you're going to do it. For instance, our dog, or my daughter's dog, actually, the one that you'll see on my channel, which is Mocha, she had an allergic reaction to the yearly heartworm shot, which I would never recommend anybody giving their dog. Her face swell up like she looked like a Sharpay, or one of those with all the wrinkles, and she had bumps all down her back. And we thought, this dog is going to stop breathing. I mean, that was our first reaction. Well, it was after hours, and we had to go to the local vet's office that was an hour away. Well, this girl had to do the highway. Whether I liked it or not, I had to do the highway. And I didn't like it, wasn't happy, but I did it because we loved Mocha. So I'm using that as an example, because if you love somebody enough and they have problems on the highway and you don't understand it and you want to go the back roads, or they want to go the back roads, and it makes their life a lot easier, take it and go the back roads. Do it for them because you love them. It is going to help them. My family knows it is going to help them, help me as the next day of being able to move around. I won't have 20 panic attacks on the highway. Thankfully, I live in a pretty quiet town. Now, I can handle byways. Highways, no way. And we have found out that we've really enjoyed going the back ways. I get to see little towns, and I just love it. And I can get in the car without going, I want to get the heck out of here, please. And Rhonda says, thanks for sharing, Mary. So good to let the lady know that she's not alone. Fibro is so different for everybody. Absolutely. There's probably an overlap between neurodiverse and fibro. There is with TMJD, autism and ADHD. Yes, my daughter's autistic. She has ADHD. A lot of their symptoms mesh together very, very well. They often, one you'll find in one and it has one in the other. So, I would really encourage you to have a pill minder in your phone. If you're taking any kind of medication that you need to, and you can put more than one, that you need to be able to count of exactly when you took your last medication. I was in the car probably a couple months ago, and we went to see the Blind movie, and the car did something funny, and it went, and my whole back just froze up. I mean, it felt like somebody literally hit us and rear-ended us in the back. And by doing that, it just threw my back into a not so happy place. And I thought, oh, I'll be fine. It hurt, but I'll be fine. Well, I did not. I had my medication with me. I should have taken my medication. I should have realized, Mary, in a couple hours, this is going to really start hurting. I didn't do it. And it was probably about 7:30 or maybe 8:30 or something like that. And I came home and I decided, I got busy with stuff, and then I started hurting. And then I said, okay, at 9:30, I'm going to go ahead and, go lay down and take my medication. And I did. And I slept for 2 hours. I woke up at 11:30 going, my pain was probably at an 8. It came down to a 7. I allowed my pain to go way too long doing this number and not hitting it when I know I needed to hit it. Taking care of myself, making sure that I was taking care of myself in the appropriate manner. That's where kind of the crochet part of me comes in. Is my toolbox is in my crochet bag. And so at 11:30, I would not have been able to take another medication. So I knew that if I laid there for maybe a half an hour and I could not get out of bed, I needed to do what I need. If I couldn't go to sleep in a half an hour, this was going to pop out. My crochet hooks were going to pop out, and I was going to pull up my crochet out. And if it meant I crocheted until 4 o'clock in the morning until I could take another pill or go to sleep, that's exactly what was going to happen. But I had tools within my toolbox. This goes for connection, you all, too. This is why it's so important for you to have your 5. Because when you're sitting there hurting and you can focus on connecting with somebody or getting on the phone with somebody, you can do a lot better than sitting there going, I'm hurting. It'll drive you nuts. And it's like that light. If that light shined in my eyes like this, it's going to be really bright if I stared at it for long enough. So thankfully I was able to go back to sleep. So why I encourage you, if you do not crochet, if you do not knit, get an adult coloring book. There is diamond art. There is so many different crafts. There is Dollar Tree crafts. You can go to Dollar Tree and buy things for inexpensive. If it falls apart in 6 months, who cares? It's maybe spent 3 hours to put it together, but you weren't focused on what was hurting. Have some crossword puzzles, have some word search puzzles, do something else, pull out your journal, do something else. And we will, this is just my journey, but we are going to have more discussions on this. I have vertigo episodes a week and have to lay down for 10 minutes or it is worse. Yes, you do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And CJ Harris says, I feel so guilty taking a nap or just taking quiet time. Can I encourage you not to? Don't. There's another topic I think that I'd like to discuss, and that is called ruminating. That is one that I've learned in therapy, and it's not very good for us. And looking at the guilt part of it, guilt doesn't help. If that's what you need to do to help take care of yourself, then that's what you need to do to help take care of yourself, and you should not feel guilty one bit. Not one bit. Crochet saved me from autoimmune issues. Absolutely. I'm not telling everybody to do this. I'm telling everybody, find a craft and do it. You will find yourself in such a good place if you can find something. That doesn't mean that you don't need to not journal or not connect. It just means have a backup in your toolbox so that you can go to it when you're hurting, and you can get your mind off of it. Now, I know people there are people that journal. I do not do that very easily. I can crochet for hours. I cannot write for hours. So for me, writing in a journal would be very difficult for me to do. So my channel somewhat become my journal. And I'm very thankful for that. So what you can do is I'm going to be able to actually going to send an email up that doesn't go to anybody else. Nobody sees it. And I can literally voice chat the message to the email in my phone, and I never have to type. And I don't care if it says the dog ran to the store. I don't care what it says, but it's not in here like Tommy and Captain Calhoun has taught us. It's not here. So if you're having a problem with typing, or not typing, writing, where you have, arthritis problems, or you just cannot get that going because it hurts too much, try doing an email, which you can send a voice text to, you can voice chat it in your phone and just send it off, and it sends to the email. You don't ever have to look at it. You don't ever have to see it. Nobody else needs to. And if you can type it on the computer, that's great too. But if you're having a problem with writing, don't let that stop you from journaling. There are ways around the whole being able to write. I give a lot of credit for Admiral Tommy that can journal. Well, he's in a squatting position because I would never get up from that. And CJ Harris says, I'm terrified of the highways. Thank you for mentioning this. My therapist has said I have not wanted to push it, Mary, but we would be willing to help you if I can help you start talking about it, because not only have I had problems on the highway, but when I get behind the wheel, I feel like I'm Gumby. And I don't feel very good when I'm behind the wheel. And I think that that's panic attacks going on and stuff like that. So she said, we may not be able to get you driving again, but we're going to try. Let's see if we can process this through. And she said, are you willing? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if it'll help, but let's try. If we don't try, we'll never know, right? So I may never get to drive again. At this point in time, I don't drive very often. I may drive to the mailbox, and we have a little convenience store up the way, and I'll drive to that. I don't drive very much. I'd like to be able to have the ability to get in the car and say, see ya, I'm going to see my daughter and we're just going to hang out. I'd like to be able to do that. Whether I will be able to do that or not, I don't know. But it's worth a try. But I can tell you, I will be taking the entire back roads all the way there. I'm not going to put myself on the highway. I am not going to feel guilty for not doing it. You know, when it causes pain for me, guess what? I'm not going to do it. It's not happening. I just won't do it. And I'm not going to feel guilty for that either. You're describing several TMG symptoms. Vertigo is one for sure. If you're often not even considered massage therapy for TMJ issues can really help. Unfortunately, there's not a huge amount of therapists. Massages actually do well for me. Hopefully, I'm trying to see if my insurance will cover it. I do have something I got off from Amazon that I can put on my neck and just kind of massage a little bit, and it does help. I did do it kind of before I came on, and I put some heat on my neck. For those women that are in here, when it is that time of the month, you are also going to experience, at times, depending on the patient, you're going to experience more difficult times of the month. It is just part of it. So I want to encourage you to also make sure that you take care of yourself when it comes to that. But you will. It makes it even more difficult to deal with. There are days when I can't stand clothes they have to be really loose and they have to be really soft. There's days I can't wear the bra that's on, and I'm just trying to let you all know. And so there's days where all that just really hurts. It hurts. I've had it where it's like, man, it just hurts for me to touch my own skin. And it seems so like, well, you should just get over it. And if you just move, haven't we all heard that as fibromyalgia patients? If we just move, you'll feel so much better. Okay, I'm trying to do my best. I have episodes, and I was so thankful to Admiral Tommy because I had the episode of, and nobody really could explain it to me. And he explained it really the best that I've ever heard of. Is I will have times where I get really, really cold, and it's not necessarily that I'm having any withdrawals of medication. It's just I get really cold to the point where I feel like it could be 90 outside, but it's 30 in my body. And I had it this afternoon, and I just said, okay, everything has to stop. Whatever I was planning to do for the next hour has to stop. And I need to go lay down I could put 10 covers over me, and I'm still going to be going like this. My body is in pain, and my body is using energy to be able to deal with that pain. And so it's the energy is going out of me, and my body has no way but to get cold because it's working to be able to deal with the pain. So when those times come, I need to go take my medicine. I need to go lay down in bed. Sometimes I can put a heating pad, which helps, and I need to be still for about an hour. Whatever I am doing has to stop. Do you know how hard that is? That really kind of sucks. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I have to stop whatever I am doing and go just lay still in bed for an hour. And I put the sweaters on, I put the 4 or 5 blankets on top of me, and I just lay still. That's really hard. It's just like your whole world has to stop. And then if I get a migraine, it depends on the severity of it. I woke up one morning, I was doing pretty good. I'd had several days of a headache, and I woke up, I'm doing pretty good today. It was really bright. I decided to open the window. Started the migraine all over again with just looking right out the window. And my mom's like, it's awful dark in your room. And I'm like, yep, I can't open the window today. You do what you need to do. This is why the people around you have to understand they are not living in your pain level. They are not living in your body. You do not need to feel guilty about it. You do not need to feel as if you need to apologize for anything. You've been thrown a deck of cards that I don't wish on anybody. Honest to goodness gracious, I don't wish on anybody. It's finding the support. It's finding the strategies to go through what works for you. What works for me is not going to work with everybody else. I'm going to tell you one thing. Get your toolbox ready. Get your toolbox, whether it's crochet, whether it's a crossword puzzle books, whether it's adult coloring books. I don't care what it is. Find something. You also need to connect. Connection is a really powerful tool. Like I talked about when we first met, connection became real. The boat became real to me because I was connecting with people. And so connections are really, really important. Sometimes I've gone on my channel and I've kind of not really been feeling the greatest that day. And you know what? Coming on my channel really helped me to kind of forget the fact that I was really kind of having a not so good day. And I connected and I laughed. And by the time I got off of it, I actually felt better. So connect with people. There's the Lifeboat group, the Lifeboat Facebook group. There are channels and ripples popping up right now, which we are so glad for. I did this earlier, and this is for 7th. I know he's not here, but he will see this, hopefully. He started this saying, nothing but ripples. And so that's for sure. And let's and support all the ripples that are popping up. We're trying to put that in the chats when we do the lifeboat so that people can go and support those channels and subscribe, maybe go in and watch a short video and leave a comment. It means the world to all the ripples that are coming on board. We're trying to make it so connection is never something that is far away from your fingertips. It is so important. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. This is not, and even, it is irritating when people hear fibromyalgia as, I'm going to try to read this, empathetic. It is real and you can't just walk it off. Amen. Amen. And Mystdragon was live today and she said, it helped me to feel better just going live. We're trying to make it so you all can have connection. I do not want people to feel sorry for me. Oh, thank you. Case that knows empathetic means that you're not able to identify the cause and that it's not real. It's real. Fibromyalgia is real. It's not a made-up disease at all. You just can't test it by a blood test. Trying to make it so that you all can connect. There's the Lifeboat. There's my Lighthouse Beacons group. They also say it's all head and call crap. It's all in your head. No, it's not. Let me just tell you all, fibromyalgia is not in your head. If you have somebody that is living with fibromyalgia, stop. Do not sit here with them trying to tell them it's all in their head. And if they would just do this and this and this, you need to sit. Like I wish that when I was raising my daughter and people that did not understand autism would have come and sat with me and sat there and said, you know what, can you explain this to me so I can understand it better? I'd have gladly told them about it. So let's sit with the person. Let's sit and try to understand what they're going through. You don't have to understand it, but you can try to. And not sit here and say, well, it's all in your head. Apparently you're not, you should just do this and do this. You're not living in their body. You do not know what they're going through. You do not know the pain level they're going through. I keep listening while I'm driving. Kids just finished track. Well, thank you very much. Well, you know what? But Andrea, you do what you need to do. I was a single mother too for a little bit. You do what you need to do. And we don't always get dealt the deck of cards we want in our life. But, guilt is not a productive thing to do. And it, you're doing the best you can. Just like I had fibromyalgia, well, diagnosed, so I was raising my daughter, and I said I did the best thing I could. She said, it was really frustrating, Mom, when you couldn't do this or that, because of the fibromyalgia was the one that won that day. My wife doctor says, just keep moving, it will get better. So frustrating. Oh, yes, I know. Absolutely. Absolutely. Child with autistic, and honestly, I'm just exhausted. McDonald's is terrible, but I can't cook dinner all the time. Been there. I've done that. Do not feel guilty. Do not. Do what you need to do. And if McDonald's comes in the fray once now and then, do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Yep. Psychosomatic isn't the same as empathy. Psychosomatic pain is still pain too. Sorry for the difficult word. It's okay. Like I said before, I do have learning disabilities, so sometimes words I'm trying, I will do my best to pronounce them, but they don't always come out right. That's okay. We're here for each other. Not all doctors are equal, aren't that? And that for sure. Like my doctor in Florida, I called him my angel because he treated me like a person. I had another doctor up here that did, and they treated me like a person. And my pain management doctor I have now, man alive, he is just amazing. We have a friend of ours who has some mental struggles, and she is on medication. She writes it in a little book. She takes it responsibly. She went to her pain management doctor. He said, you know what? I'm not going to give you any more after this month. He said, and if you don't do this procedure, then don't come back and see me. And the procedure that he did on her 3 months ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and she was in worse pain after she had it done than before. Those are the kind of pain management doctors that it makes me irritated, to say the least. It's like, why? And then I look at the pain management doctor I have, and I say, thank you, Lord, so much that you gave me such a kind and wonderful pain management doctor. So shop around. And in the sense of, and I don't mean that shopping, pill stuff or anything like that. I mean, if you are with a doctor, and if you can go to another doctor that you mesh with better, then go. If you don't like that doctor, it does not mean, hopefully, it's not the only doctor in town that you have to stick with. When I first moved here, I went to one doctor. He was okay. And then I found this other doctor. So, if you're going to a pain management doctor or whatever doctor, and you're just not meshing well, then go to another doctor that's on your insurance. You have to be an advocate for yourself. You have to stand up for yourself and know your body enough. Just because the treatment that they're using for me as a fibromyalgia patient is not something that's standard. Don't we all love that? Well, that one works for, that's not what we usually do for fibromyalgia patients. I don't care. We've thrown everything at me that possibly could be out there. I don't want to try anything else. I'm perfectly happy managing my pain just exactly the way I am. Please don't throw anything else at me. And thankfully so far I have doctors that have listened to that. And yet I have had to at times do things, like when I first moved here, my one doctor said, well, I want to go for an MRI. I want to look at your back. I want to make sure everything that's going on, but we have to send you to physical therapy. They sent me to physical therapy. And then when they realized I really couldn't do physical therapy, they said, we'll put you in the pool. Well, the pool was great. But then the pool exercises that they were doing was causing my sciatica to, my sciatica to act up. So it was like I canceled appointments. Eventually I couldn't go anymore, but it was like, okay, the pool is supposed to really help. And it did. I think what happened was she had me just go in the deep end and just stretch my body out a little bit and just kind of hang in the water. And I think that I think that didn't necessarily help. But again, you know, it worked for people and it doesn't work for everybody. But I did what I needed to do in order to get to the next step. I have a great GP. She is a precious gem. Difficult to get an appointment with her as she's in demand, but worth the wait. Absolutely. Great doctors are God sent. Please be an advocate for yourself. Set your boundaries for your family members and the people that you live with and your spouse. Um, um, for your spouse, you need to set your boundaries. If you need to lay down at 2 o'clock every afternoon for a nap, do it. If you find out that you're better, that your pain is less, then you do it. If you find out that going on back roads eases your pain and doesn't make your pain as less or less, do it. Do what you need to do in order to be able to get through the day and not have flare-ups. And when you have flare-ups, you need to pay attention to it. And you need to write them down. You need to be writing down stuff and figuring and making the connections going on so that you can be able to go, oh, I did that yesterday. Okay, I did that. Well, that's why I'm hurting more. And please know that you have support here. You have support on the boat. I hope that this was the start of helping people that have come in the chat who have said, I have fibromyalgia. I've heard it on so many occasions from the captain, or Admiral Tommy, and I'm sure Captain Calhoun will hear it, of people. And I hope it gave you a little glimpse into what fibromyalgia is. It is just one of those things that you kind of get up and you kind of hurt. And I hope that it helped people that are on the boat that are dealing with this, that realize they're not alone. If you are somebody that is struggling with this, my email's on my page. I have the Lighthouse Beacons. Go in there and just say, I need someone to talk to. It's great for you to have friends that come beside you. But I think it is so helpful to be able to have somebody that totally is saying, I'm living that life. I know what that's like. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me at all. It's not about that. I know that there's days I could go, I don't want to deal with this. And other days where I'm kind of grateful that I have it because I can be a support system and help people to understand it. It's not in your head. And that's very difficult to understand. How could it not be something that you can just take a blood test and do and figure out? Well, you can't. And what does it feel like? I'm sitting here and I'm hurting, not tremendously, but just it's there, but it is part of it. My mom has fibromyalgia. She says it's like waking up with the flu every day. My heart goes out to everyone who lives it. That is probably the best description, one of the best descriptions. It is true. You feel just tired. There's days I've woken up going, how I've just slept for 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours. How can I still be so tired? How can I still be exhausted? I miss sunrise, dawn. It's not sympathy, but understanding. That's very, very true. TLB, I love this. Connection, friendship, and support. Oh my goodness. It's awesome. That's awesome, Jason B. That's a great way to look at it. It is absolutely. Oh, that's okay. We'll forgive you. We know you're over there at Miss Sunrise Dawn being a mod. It's fine. Just can I encourage you all to please just go, and all these ripples that are coming up when we post them in the boat, just go over and just make sure you subscribe to them. It means the world to them. And we're just trying to grow this. Now on Tuesday, and Rhonda says, she said, thanks, Mary. Really does help to know that I'm not alone. You are not alone, nor is anybody going to suffer here in silence. Love to all others who live with chronic pain. Absolutely. On Thursday, we have another ripple happening, y'all. We have another ripple with and Miss Kelly B. Love you. Great love for her. She and I did live together on my channel about dealing with being in an abusive relationship. So if anybody ever wants to check that out, that was over on my channel. But on Thursday, my other's keeper will be on at 5 o'clock boat time, talking about with me, talking about living with somebody and caring for somebody with multiple sclerosis. I told the story of my grandfather. So y'all got to hear the story about that. And he was such a neat personality. But coming from a perspective of caring, and again, he had a physical disability that you could see because he sat in a wheelchair. But there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people didn't see that were invisible. But how he really got up with just a huge smile on his face. And so we're going to come on talking about loving somebody and caring for somebody with multiple sclerosis, as well as caregiving. I think that that's a really, really important topic, because if you are caregiving for somebody, and it kind of falls in with the fibromyalgia thing, you need to know what your limitations are and set your boundaries for that too. It's important that it's not just one-sided. If you're dealing with the illness, you need to set the boundaries. If you need to lay down for a nap, or you need to take the back roads, or you need to do this, or whatever it is, the other person needs to do that. And that's why communication is so, so important. So I hope that helped. It gave you an idea of what my story was. It made you feel like the people that are on the boat, whenever they pop up and say, I have fibromyalgia, please know that I give just gentle hugs. I absolutely I love y'all. And I'm so grateful for every one of you that are on the boat and are here. And I hope this was helpful. We will talk about it again. Sometimes we'll just get on and chit chat. It's just it boils down to one thing. It is connection. Connection is a tool within your toolbox. It is something that is just so prevalent. And if you don't see the amount of how what a gift that is to give to yourself. Connecting with somebody is a gift. When we connect with people, we're helping them, and they're there for support. And that's what it is, so that we do not suffer in silence. So I hope you'll join us again. The boat will be on at the 7s. And so I hope that helps. And then on Thursday, join us for the discussion with my other's keeper. She will be on, and so she will be a Ripple. And I really encourage all the Ripples to come on board and, and just do it, because it's just one of the highlights of my day, or several days in the week to look for to come onto the boat and my channel. So have a great day. It is what I say every time. I'm wearing my anchor necklace because I'm on the boat. Stay connected, y'all. It really is a great tool, and it is just a tremendous gift. And thank you all. Have a great day, and see you on the boat. Bye.